Flatlands Racing radiator brace guards. First step is to remove these plastic louvers and the horn bracket. The plastic tabs come out and slide like that. 8mm socket takes off the horn bracket. Just get in here and get it off. Just take this socket off and run it off by hand here. This is a stock bracket that is recalled on the bike, so the Flatlands Racing kit comes with a new horn bracket, so if you haven't taken care of this at the dealer, don't have to worry about it. Same process, I'm guessing. Figure out how, catches in there. Yep. I highly recommend getting these braces because I just noticed when I was taking this off, when I busted my butt on this bike and got thrown over the bars and fell over on this side, looks like I bent my radiator. So yeah, these radiators bend pretty easy. It's not real bad, and the plastics line up fine and all, but it is bent a little bit. So yeah, I would highly advise investing in these if you do any off-road riding and are planning to drop this bike any. Alright, here's the hardware. I just laid it out in the order that's listed on the paper to make sure everything's there, and it's kind of easier to get it together. I'll be using this Loctite 243. That formula works on aluminum or any metal or plastic, so man, these bolts might have coating on it or going into aluminum. I want to make sure the Loctite sets up. Instructions don't call for Loctite, but being that this is a thumper and the way they vibrate, yeah, I think Loctite is not a bad idea to put on any fasteners like this. Okay, the next step is to install these flat brackets. It doesn't tell you which way to install it, but if you look at it, the small side, this side is threaded and this side is slotted. Now what you do is you take out this bottom radiator mount bolt on both sides and you slide this bracket behind there, and then it'll pop out toward the front. Pop out like this toward the front, and then your radiator mount or radiator guard will mount to this piece. Taking that radiator bolt out, that's an 8mm bolt, so gives you an extension and a ratchet and take it out. Okay, you want to attach your horn bracket to the top hole in the left side guard, and you got a washer and a lock nut that goes to that hole. Alright, this is going to be your top bolt, that long one, and your shorter bolt, and top bolt's going to go here, and the other one's going to go down here. And I've taken the clutch cable loose that was hooked here and here. It's going to sit behind this new bracket that we've added, and this is still loose like it said to do. You want to put this rubber washer on the horn first, and then put it on, and put the nut back on there that came off of it, and don't tighten it too tight. You want it just tight enough. If you over tighten it, the horn won't work right. And adjust this bracket, the horn bracket, so it's not hitting your forks. Alright, so I got this test fitted, so I'm just gonna take out each bolt and put the Loctite on there now. Loctite on there, like I said, I'm using 243. You have to have metal ions for Loctite to work. If you're putting it into plastic or aluminum, I think aluminum doesn't really set regular Loctite. And your clutch cable up here and get in the way when you're trying to tighten this too, by the way. Just snug. I mean, you don't need to over tighten it. This is a rubber mounted piece, so. And do the same down here for the bottom one. The back radiator bolt that's in here by the fan, you'll tighten that back up. Same deal on the right side, guys. And take this bolt out and put this bracket in like this. This side's threaded for the radiator guard. And take this bolt out. So your guard will mount up here, and it'll mount down here where the tab will come out. So I recommend putting this bolt in first and then adjusting for it right here. Here's the right side guard. Put that little bitty screw on the bottom and that bigger screw on the top. And this is a stock bolt from the top. You don't use it, so just put it in a box or throw it away, whatever. Aftermarket bolts that come with a guard are 10mm head. So, alright, like I said, I'm going to put the top one in first. Put some Loctite 243 on them. Choke up your wrench. You don't need to over tighten them, especially if you put Loctite on. No need in hulking out on this shit. Hulk out on it, and that's how you break stuff. And some of you guys breaking stuff on your bikes, man, loose is better than tighter. And then we need to tighten the back radiator bolt back up, which is a 8mm head, because that's the stock bolt. And that's how you put the guards on. Then you align your plastics up. There's some shims for your plastics. Okay, guys, I did go back and put Loctite on the factory bolts that went back there. So all the mounting bolts have Loctite on that went to the frame. At this point, your plastics go on there, and you have to move this around a little bit because, I mean, the radiators are sprung. But these flatline racing guards look pretty good and pretty dang stout. I mean, it mounts up here, mounts down there. And the horn here, you got to tighten that up, finish tightening that up. But, okay, got the Flatlines Racing guard, got the shrouds on here with the Flatline Racing guard, got the IMS tank. Now to install the shrouds with the Flatlines, you'll use your stock bolts up here. Well, right here would be a clip. This is IMS tank, so you have to use its bolts and spacers. But down here, you use the supplied bolt with a flat washer, bolt with a flat washer, and a spacer right there. And this bolt is 20mm long. This one's 25mm. So your long bolt goes on the bottom, and your slightly shorter bolt goes up here. And yeah, it makes it looks. So that's how you install the shroud. Long bolt,
from left to right, long bolt, short bolt, 2 flat washers, and a black spacer.
Okay, fella, if you're putting this Flatlines racing guard on with an IMS 3-gallon tank, it's gonna have a little bit of a fitment problem. The top of the shroud, you're gonna have to cut out some of this because this tank otherwise hits. I've got about a 1/8 inch of clearance now, which it's not gonna touch it. I mean, you know, the tank flexes or something, it might, but otherwise, and before it was actually touching there. So I used a bandsaw to cut this and then cleaned it up with a file.